Excuse me, madam. Excuse me. Yep. Just okay. Bye. There, yeah. Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. I've got breaking news. The cargo ship Isadora, meant to be arriving in Africa 4 days ago, is now officially considered off schedule. This is unheralded for the Durang Trading Company, one that prides itself. Isadora continued lost at sea, the many men on it. It's a miracle. The ship Isadora, thought to be sunk, has been spotted in the Straits. One sailor says Isadora spotted again halfway across the world from its original intended destination. No crew was spotted on deck, but the sailors who saw it say the ship was sailing in a determined manner. Attempts were made to board the ship or to stop it, but they report not having the proper tools to do so. These men could all...
That ship has met with a terrible fate. The crew, all dead, have been damned. Their spirits locked to the ship, guiding it to this day. The way it sails without...
An unbelievable tale, ladies and gents. The Isadora, long thought to be lost at sea, a mariner's myth by now, has actually made port, but not where it was meant to. It drifted softly into the port of Guinea, bumping into the dock but causing no damage, with no crew on it, as if this stop were fully intended. The ship has been lost for 7 years now and has a wealth of stories to go with it, and I certainly know those stories. There.
I'm the assessor for the Durang Trading Company, the owner of this ship.
Ah, yes, they said you'd be coming. I'm Keel Town, local assessor for this port. Shall I come up there?
No need. No need. Being the local assessor, can you comment on how the ship came into port?
Gently. It just drifted in, bumped the dock, but left no damage. This ship has had plenty of stories associated with it over the years, including...
Yes, I am aware. Been keeping up with every report and whisper of its location since it was lost. I thought for sure it had sunk several times and I heard nothing for a while. That would have been an issue. I'm guessing you're all done on the top deck?
Yes, so I began my lower deck examinations. I tossed all the crew's clothes and belongings up there.
And what of the captain's possessions?
Still in his quarters.
Good. Good.
All their clothes and belongings here, but no signs of the actual crew. No leftovers, no skeletons, nothing. As if they had just disappeared without a trace.
Yes. So it would seem.
Perhaps someone took the crew by force.
I can't see why. The Isadora was a small merchant ship carrying no valuables, only cargo. Yet, is the cargo still there?
Some, and very rotted. Most of the food was probably taken by birds over the years.
Sounds right.
But the planks the cargo was put on are still here.
Huh. Would have been very difficult to move it all by hand for any boarders, so that can be fully ruled out. And the ship had no weaponry to take.
That you know of.
I assure you, there were no weapons on this ship. My books are all accounted for.
Accounting books tell one tale, perhaps not the whole tale.
I was there when the ship launched. I can tell you with full confidence there were no weapons on this ship.
All right, all right. Then I suppose we're on to the only other theory.
Which is?
Something more than natural got the crew out on the seas.
Neither I nor the company buy into superstitious nonsense. Crewmen may be uneducated and thus primed to believe such foolishness, but not I.
Well, you have to admit...
I don't have to admit anything. I don't have to do anything. Except maybe ram your head in the post down there a few times, see if that knocks some sense into you.
What was that last part?
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, if you don't want to consider that sort of thing, fine. Though I can't see how you determine the fate of 22 crew members disappearing without a trace and not assume something larger happened.
The company is concerned with the state of the ship, the repairs it may need. They only want me to report on the fate of 6 of its crew members, if I can even figure that out. The captain, first mate, doctor, cook, scout, and a cabin boy. Family member of one of the company's higher-ups.
That seems a bit cold.
They were mostly the people of higher value on the ship. The rest of the crew, the talent pool is quite large to pull from. But if the company wishes to sail this ship again, and they do, they'll need to know what happened to those members to answer questions from any potential future high-ranking members.
Well, if that'd be your prerogative. With that, I guess I'll get back to my examination.
And I shall begin mine. Railing seem in good order. Something etched here, though. DJ, IV. Likely the crewmen celebrating their newfound love for one another. Not valuing something that doesn't belong to them. Huh. One of the lifeboats is missing. At least some made it off. Though each boat only holds 6 people. The mast looks undamaged. The sails in good order. The rigging all appears to be intact. In fact, most of the ship looks untouched, clean. Probably from countless storms it's roamed through. Everything in good condition. Except for this break in the deck. How heavy would something have to be to cause that much damage? It's a Durang ship made of the sturdiest wood. So they'd say. Short? A person? No. At the very least, they'd have to fall all the way from the crow's nest. But that's a distance. Even then, they'd have to be a ship of a man himself to weigh enough to cause even a tiny dent. This is a hull. And if that were to happen, there'd be blood here, soaked in. But it looks clean. JV II. Well, that's... Captain William Hargrave, first voyage with the Durang Trading Company, had a disdain for how every sailing company treated its crews. Annoying, but there was no denying his skill. He rarely lost a single man on any of the voyages he captained. He had a peculiarity about him, that if any man died on a voyage where he was captain, he complained of how burial at sea leaves no marker. He did not like the company's attitudes. Too easy for the companies to just ignore and wash their hands of any life lost. He would carve the initials of any man who died on his voyages into the ship and number them. That way the companies could not ignore or pretend like those sailors did not exist. This is no II, but a Roman numeral 2. So, whoever died here wasn't the first. Then who was? Property of Dr. Edgar Stein. Day 4. Errol Cage died tonight. An illness I was unable to gain control of. An illness? None of the men were showing signs of sickness when the ship launched. Could that illness have killed the rest of the crew? He will be buried at sea in the morn. The captain has already come down and etched his initials into the wood above the cot, along with the 1. Not entirely certain what that was about. Didn't really want to ask. But after he left, I noticed a box on my desk that was not there before. Did the captain leave a present to console me on losing a man? Unnecessary. I've been in this practice for near a decade. I've lost people before. This will not change me. I will look into it another time. Day 6. James Varley, JV, is gone. Lost at sea. The men claim his body made the dent now on the main deck. They whisper of supernatural events having done it and taken his body off the ship. While I must acknowledge it is strange there is no blood at the site, I find it more likely he fell from the crow's nest than what the men claim, right? Fell? Or pushed? That would help him cover the distance. Doesn't look like any remains are stuck up there, so Scout's still missing. A cross? Captain Hargrave was not a religious man. An odd thing to have hanging from the mast. Philip de Mornay, a practicing Christian, the only one on board. He was likely unpopular among these seafaring men. They would fear the wrath of Davy Jones long before they feared Satan. They likely treated him very unkindly, shunned him, rejected whatever he wanted to say. PD. This has been crossed off and replaced with AM. Men in situations like these, in tight quarters, shared space, often write their initials on their clothing, to be sure others wouldn't steal them if given the chance. Doesn't seem to have stopped this one, though. PD? Nothing more. Don't touch the headdress. It's what killed Varley. There's a cross here. Then Philip wasn't the only Christian on this ship. This box was meant for the captain. For how fancy it is. So why is it with the crew's belongings? Dr. Edgar. This box was in my cabin upon our departure, along with a letter. An insulting letter. Congratulating me on a successful send-off. As if I have never sailed a ship through these waters, let alone near 100. I have no use for these trinkets. Perhaps you will. If not, feel free to hand them out to any of the crew you wish. I know James has become a sort of assistant to you and has a wife back on shore. Maybe he would have use for them. Captain Hargrave. Huh. Fitted packaging. Here's the headdress that Scrap mentioned. And there was something under it. A bauble of some form. Circular. Spherical, more like. No sign of the captain's letter. All right, Philip. What else do you have? Here we are. Day 6. In the dense fog last evening, I could feel our tension. I saw it. All 4 of us did. On deck, Varley seemed to struggle with something we could not see, then froze. None of us dared to approach, one only managing to ask if he was okay. Varley's body violently pushed itself into a pose, looking like the Savior on the cross. He was then lifted into the air as if held by invisible strings. His face turned upwards, his mouth opened to scream. No sound released. He was held there for a few moments before slamming down onto the deck, breaking the wood beneath him. Even from the distance we all stood, it was clear to us. He was dead. The dent his body made began to fill with his blood seeping out. It was only then did any of us manage the courage to move closer. Only a few steps, though. The blood stopped expanding, the dent not fully filled. Then it began to retreat. It all went back into his body. Once all the blood was gone, he was lifted into the air once more, now hanging limply. He was held there for a few moments and was pulled out to sea quick as lightning, as if by a rod pulled taut. It was a sign from God himself, a punishment to these wicked non-believers. All those days spent trying to convince others on this ship and prior ones to join the church and being reviled for it. After that, 2 of the others immediately sought to join to save their immortal souls. I remember one of them had tried to educate me when I first joined the crew. Inform me the God I follow is only a God over the land, that Davy Jones is a God of the sea, and that he has no mercy for any who perish on the waters, that all their souls, good or bad, will be taken to his locker. They seemed frightened of the prospect, even then, like they would do anything to not die at sea. But now, he saw the same thing I did and was educated himself. The 3rd man there, Cal Brook, looked upon those 2 with pity, as if they had suddenly become lesser. Then he glared at me before walking away into the fog and down below deck. This morning, us 3 informed the captain of what we saw, but he did not believe a word of it. All he would agree on is that Varley is now gone, almost certainly perished at sea. He claimed that one of us, or even all of us, could have murdered him. Though it ruffled me in my beliefs, his booming voice caused none of us to protest his accusation or his choice. For the first few days of our journey, the captain's eyes have seemed bored, almost asleep. Now, they are wide and wild. The captain called in his first mate, informed him to log that Varley has died, perished at sea. First mate's law. No personal thoughts here, only facts. Good. What I need most. Day 6. James Varley has passed away in the night. Perished at sea. Huh. Not much to go off. Today, the wind that has stayed with us since our departure, moving southwest, has died. It has not changed direction, simply died. That's not how... Alright. Well, what actually happened? Well, where he was at will put him directly beneath the rigging. Someone could have gotten a rope around him, lifted him up. They said the evening was dark, foggy. It's likely they would not have seen a rope. Just a rope? If it was not a single rope but a tangle, well, that would explain his fighting with something, then being forced into a pose as the ropes were pulled taut. The crew's minds, uneducated, ripe for believing in nonsense, would fill the gaps with whatever they wished to see. But if he was only lifted a few meters off the ground, even 5, hell, to the top of that rigging is only 9, 10 meters. It wouldn't be a far enough distance to drop him and kill him. Or even knock him out. There is no bloodstain, so he must not have been killed, but rather knocked unconscious. Which means it couldn't be a direct rope. It would need to be a pulley wrapped in with the rigging above. Someone on the far side of the deck could hide out of sight, then pull him up once tangled, lift him higher and higher, then release the pulley, releasing not just his weight, but any excess tension. It would slam him into the deck. Yes, that must be how it happened. Lifting again, fine. But he was cast out to sea. Lost. That much they agreed on. The pulley will only be able to move him up or down. So how did you get off the ship? And why would anyone do all this? I need more. CB. Cal. Perhaps you'll have a more reasonable take on what happened that night. Day 7. Cross times 3. Day 9. Cross times 5. He must be counting how many were joining Philip. Day 12. Cross times 8. So many fools joining his lies. I need someone on my side. Like back in Burma, in my younger years. How green I was then. It was only with Alfred's help that I managed to make it through all that. I'll pass a scrap to that cabin boy. Seems trustworthy. His youth gives me hope. Day 13. 9. Cabin boy, David Jean. I need someone I can trust. Can you be that? No response. All right. Back to Cal. Here we are. Day 12. The crew are going mad, listening to the lies of that religious man. There seems to be no reasoning with them once he has them in his cult. I see only one way of ending this. By ending him. Day 13. Dark splotch. Not ink. Blood. I did it. Made it quick. More for my sake. Cut his throat. As the moon climbs, I'll have the boy dump him overboard. Then we'll be rid of this problem. What? There's a break. What have I done? The boy agreed to dump his body in the middle of the night as everyone slept. I could not. Needed to see it, hear it for myself. I watched the boy take his body from the hammock, walk him up onto the main deck, heard the effort, saw the body fly past the porthole and the splash that followed. No one else stirred. Then there was a voice. Someone else on the deck. Looking around, the hammocks are full. None of the crew. The captain. He did not shout, but did speak with accusation. I couldn't tell what he was saying. I heard the boy splutter, trying to find some excuse. And then an unholy noise. Fast movement. And the sound of the boy being run through by a sword. A moment passed. An eternity. And then his body fell. Made another splash. Still, no one stirred. The captain's boots stomped away. I dared not move, lest I give away what I did, or what I know. I was afraid to gather others to a cause that lead them to their doom. Afraid of being alone again in that cause. When I was a lad, there was a tree outside the home I lived in. I would play among it, climb it, exploring its branches and leaves, pretend to be off on some grand adventures. Right now, I truly wish I could go back to that place, to that age. I was not much younger then than that boy. I wonder if he had a tree like that as well. I hope so. DJ 4. He was killed here. Well, the higher up won't be happy about that. Day 14. Philip de Mornay and cabin boy David Jean perished late last night. The captain assembled the rest of the crew and informed them of Philip's death, and that he had caught both Philip and Varley's murderer red-handed while dumping the second body. Not quite. And with how the captain rejected the crew's account of Varley's death, I imagine they did not believe what the captain was telling them here. He marked the mast and hung a cross for Philip, marked where David died. Still no wind. We are moving towards our destination, but slowly. Philip and Varley's murderer. Hey. Cal. Did you kill Varley? No mention of it. Hell, no mention of Varley's death or that night. Day 15. The religious man is gone. And still another has joined their cause. How? Do they not see? They are leading this entire ship down the path of its demise. Varley's pose as he hung in the air, held by invisible hands. The cross. The same shape now hanging from our mast! It was clearly the sea gods punishing us for bringing this land called Believer on board. That symbol has made us a target. I struggle to find another solution. I must get the others who have not joined this cult to act with me. Overnight we'll cut all of their throats. These people, completely unwound, didn't they? I need someone more level-headed. Day 17. I woke to a horror show. One I do not feel proper repeating here. Yes. The first mate would be the first one of the crew up. He must have seen the deeds of these seafarers. Why wouldn't they have dumped the bodies? Too many. And the captain probably remained on deck, made his presence known through sound for the evenings that followed. To be sure. Hell. He was probably on deck every night after Varley's death, waiting to see if he could catch someone in the act. And he got it with David. All of this would have made any captain paranoid. I went and informed the captain. He has grown more and more wild-eyed by the day on this journey, ever since Varley's death. But this, it looked like his eyes were ready to pop out. He is furious. He appears as a maverick, a rogue element. Impossible to tell just what he will do, or what his limits are anymore. He has decided to wait until the normal starting time to call the remaining living crew on deck. There's a break. This is not a summary, but a live writing. The captain has called for all hands on deck. The crew arrive, all standing on one side. Myself, the captain, and the doctor on the other. The captain looks feral. The doctor looks uneasy, unwilling to take a stand. Only 8 of the crew remain. They look too sure of themselves. They know what they've done, what this is about, and how it's all going to play out. The captain begins. He demands any who acted on someone else's orders to join him now and point out their mastermind. Only by doing so will they be met with mercy. One steps forward. The captain's authoritative tone no doubt helping to set his mind right. His sure look has changed to one of nervousness. Another. The numbers stop there. They point out Cal as their leader. Captain demands Cal step forward for the crime of treason to be executed. Those remaining with Cal surround him to protect him. A moment passes. 2. Neither backs down. The captain command. And the entry stopped there. Blood. The first mate was probably killed then. It's safe to say the captain commanded them to attack. 4, 5. Up to this point, everyone is accounted for. Every living and dead. But at least one made it off this ship. Who? With no more marks on the deck, it's safe to say it wasn't the captain. First mate's definitely gone, so that leaves 9 potential survivors. But a lifeboat would only hold 6. Cal's group had 6 in it. Even if they only killed the captain and the first mate, it would never allow the other 2 back in their ranks. And then you have the doctor. The doctor wouldn't pick a side. The last entry is day 15. Wait. In total, this journey only lasted 17 days. That's all it took for the crew's unwinding. The captain and the few men that stood with him crossed swords with a crew member and those who stood with him. Their fight raged for nearly half an hour. My calls to stop this were either unheard or fell on unwilling ears. All I could do was keep myself out of the way. By the time the men were injured or worn down enough to let me try to help any of them, they were either already gone or on their final moments. Both sides ended up killing each other. There was nothing I could do to save them. I have no sailing expertise and cannot steer the ship on my own. The wind that had come to a sudden stop after Varley's disappearance has picked up again and is steering the ship out. I have studied the captain's maps. I will take one of the rowboats, try to reach an island that we passed for civilization that should be relatively nearby. Hopefully no more than a day's rowing. I can see a storm approaching on the horizon. I fear I will not make it. But I cannot stay here and drift further away from my only escape. I leave this journal and its entries as a last attempt to tell the story of what happened here. I hope it is found someday, if I do not get to tell the tale myself. So this ship drifted for 7 years. The storm it went into immediately after likely wiped away any blood on the deck. And over the subsequent years, any bodies would have been slowly rotted, eaten by ravenous birds, wiped clean by the many storms the ship would have ridden through. And that's everyone's fates accounted for.
Sounds the doctor. But if he did survive, he hasn't seemed to make his presence known. 7 years on, if he's still alive, he could be anywhere in the world by now.
Indeed.
Perhaps there was more to the story than you originally thought.
Maybe.
Well, I'm done with what I needed to do, so I'll be off.
Shall I meet you up here?
No, I lowered the cargo gangplank earlier. I'll take off that way.
Then you have a very fine day. Valley. There you are, my little friend. It took years. And you were meant for the captain. But, in a roundabout way, you did everything I hoped for. And more. Now, let's see who else we can loose you upon.